Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am your girl, Molinda Jae, and I'm here to do a review of episode 4. Okay, I got it right this time. It's episode 4 of Grown in Gospel. All right. And the title of the episode, I don't think I renamed the episode this time, but the title of the episode, whenever you do watch it during your leisure, is The Secret Life of Church Girls, or just Secret Life of Church Girls. Okay. So I do have to say this before I get down with the episode review, is that I did realize Carlos King is the one producing this. Well, he has an executive producer credit for the Grown and Gospel show, compared to Mona Scott is the producer for the SWV and Escape Show, which explains a lot now that I look back at it. Now, on to the review of the episode. So it starts off with Tasha at Tasha's house. Nikki is visiting Tasha after what happened to the date night fiasco between Tasha and her estranged husband, Veron. And Tasha is seeking for some girl chat, some girlfriend advice from her bestie Nikki. And she goes right on ahead and tell Nikki that she had an affair on Veron, which we found out later on in the previous episode, because he was giving very shallow vibes to her. Like, he was not feeling the moment at the time. Just as much as she was, he was not being receptive to it. So, and at the same time, when she said that she didn't think they were going to get back together because of her having that affair, and the moments and the actions that was leading up to her end up having an affair, because she said she wasn't getting enough love and attention and affection from her husband. And each time when she do try to get his attention, he's always on his phone and he's not looking up, he's not engaging, whatever case may be. So what do you do when you're not getting what you want in a relationship? You look for it into somebody else to fulfill the need. You shouldn't have to, but unfortunately that happens nowadays. So yeah. So after that, she said she again, she was a woman that was feeling neglected and not being acknowledged. It had led into her affair, and she is still reluctant into getting a divorce, because again, she doesn't want to endure another divorce before she hits the age of 40. Okay. And the fact that she has to start over again, because she did say again from the last episode that she loves being married and she loves being a wife. So there's no question of her not wanting to fulfill her wifely duties. It's just being with the person that is going to be receptive of you fulfilling your wifely duties, and the husband will be receptive and give his husband duties as well. Okay, will follow suit, take the lead, all that other lovey-dovey stuff. So not only, and then another thing that she mentions, not only he turned her down while they were at the house when they were filming the little dinner scene, right? He also invited her to the hotel, and I'm like, and she already said it, like it was giving control tactics, like, you're not, you may have caught me off guard at the house, but at the same time, since there are no cameras around, see, I'm gonna break it down to y'all, okay? For her to basically do all this for him, and of course, yes, the cameras are around because they are filming for the show, right? But the fact that she did all that and he was not being receptive as it at the time, which I understand to a certain degree, because that's when we have found out she had an affair, right? But you can't flip it on her and say, "Hey, come on to my hotel, and we'll do there," because it almost gives like side chick vibes, even though they're still husband and wife. Like, it's still your home because y'all still married. And from what Elijah had mentioned, I think that's further along into the episode. Elijah had mentioned further on down the episode that Tasha left a 4-bedroom house to be in a 1-bedroom house with her current husband. And the fact that he did not, commence the moment at the time at the home, but want to do it at a hotel, it kind of says a lot a little bit. I don't know if the affair happened at their home or not. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, or he just want to have that authority on her, like, okay, we can do this, but on my time and not when the cameras are rolling, because I don't want to be embarrassed to a certain degree. So that's what it was given on my end when it comes to that. When it comes to that scene. Now to the next scene is Elijah meeting up with Bree at a baby shop, because he is basically Elijah and Bree are planning the surprise baby shower for Shayna, and I believe Jay is in the agreement as well, or in cahoots as well, to doing the baby shower, but he wasn't able to appear because he was at the studio at the time. So Elijah is waiting and wondering where Bree is at, and then finally Bree appears and he's like, go man. And she was like, I was on a work call. And then he flips it back on her and says, now, if you're in your singing career mode, are you going to be doing the same thing to people that need you to perform, or are you going to cut the conversation short and attend to the call that you really want to do? So I mean, I did like the flip perspective of Elijah giving to Bree of, now, if it was somebody else calling for a gig, would you be doing the same thing? But since it's a work call, you got to understand Bree's situation. That's the steady income that is paying the bills. Okay, work ain't honest, but it pays bills, in the words of Erykah Badu. So you gotta do what you gotta do to get where you want to go. All right, so they are in the baby shop and they find some baby things for Shayna, a stroller to be exact, and he asked the question about, why are we mad at Shayna? Meaning we as in the group. Why is the group mad at Shayna? And this is because of the rumor that Shayna had allegedly spreaded amongst the group or the sector about her, I believe it was her affair on her husband, stuff like that. Just he said, she said talk. So he had asked the question, so why are we mad at Shayna for? When Nikki is cool with Shayna, I don't have a problem with Shayna. You don't have a problem with Shayna. So why should we be mad at her for by association? And so this is when Elijah is like, oh, I want to utilize this opportunity to bring each other together and mend the bond, but in the friendship that we have amongst each other, because this is just basically beyond us at this point. And again, I don't have a problem with her. You don't have a problem with her. Jay don't have a problem with her. Nikki don't have a problem with her. The only person that has a problem with her is Tasha, and she's basically holding a grudge against her. And so they end up finally getting her a stroller. And before they even get the stroller, Bree was trying to find the price tag. And Bree was like, well, since we don't see the price tag, we already know it's expensive. And then that's when Elijah flips it on her again about, hey, I know you frugal and all, but if you change your mindset about things, then it will come to you. Basically, he is trying to put her on game on the law of attraction, especially when it comes to the mindset. Because again, he was right on this part, which is the power of life and death lies within the tongue. Now he is right on that one. So you got to be careful what you speak into existence, because it's all, you already have it in your mind, you already have it in your subconscious that I'll give you a prime example. People say I'm broke. Well, if you keep thinking that way, it's going to continue. You're going to continue to attract that particular scenario of you not being able to obtain money or bring some type of income or just be abundant and fruitful, when it comes to you constantly saying you're broke. So you got to change your mindset, and you got to rephrase that so you can be able to attract the money coming in abundantly, flow effortlessly at the same time. Okay, so basically Elijah is trying to change Bree mindset about how she says things. To each his own. I mean, he's right. I give him that credit. You do have to change your mind in order to get somewhere. However, when it comes to Elijah, I do wonder, does he want her to change her mindset when it comes to material gain, or having the abundance of life in all aspects? That's why I want Elijah to make it clear for me just a little bit. Is it for material possession, or is just the abundance of life and living in the moment, in the present? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's what was going on in that scene. And again, I give credit where credit is due. Elijah is right when it comes to the power of life and death lies within the tongue. Yes, it does. All right. Next scene, we have everyone meeting up at a restaurant that Bree chose for them to basically gather. Nobody knows what the exact reason she asked everybody to come, but it's basically her being transparent with them and coming out saying that she used to be an exotic dancer. Okay. And for the most part, Tasha and Jay knew about her being an exotic dancer. Okay. But the rest, they didn't know. Elijah, he was taken back, like clutching his purse, like, it's always the quiet ones. Okay, it's always the quiet ones. And then you have Shayna, like, I would have thought she was a school teacher just based on how long we've known each other and stuff like that. But hey, no judgment here. And then Nikki was like, get it like you get. Make your money, girl. Make your money, okay? No judgment over here, girl. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to make that money. So, and then Jay, he looking around like this, like, let me see how everybody else is going to react to what Bree just dropped on us, because I already knew. Okay, so basically throughout within this scene, all in a nutshell, due to Bree being transparent to the group about her being an exotic dancer, and then her wanting to get back into singing, and probably like between the gospel sector and secular music, but just getting back to singing in general. Again, this brings the question back to whenever people have backslid and wanting to come back to the promised land, and people will start to judge because let's call a thing a thing. Whenever you're trying to get people to come back to the promised land, y'all will antagonize, and then low-key try to gaslight people back into the promised land. But really, you got to allow them to do it on their own time, because as many times you're going to force their hand into come into the promised land, they're just going to keep rebelling. So the fact that the person is basically making the life change and to coming back to the promised land and wanting to be reborn or wanting to correct their ways of what they've done in the past. Now you have a problem with it. So I'll give you a prime example. Black China, aka Angela White. You know, people have been dogging her out for the longest about, oh, she need to stop doing this. Oh, she need to stop doing that. She need to stop stripping. She need to stop putting fillers in. She needs to stop doing this, that, blah, blah, blah. And now that she has turned her life around and to a born again Christian again, of course, people are going to have questions about it. People are going to reserve their judgment about it. But at the end of the day, it's her choice. It's her soul. It's her consciousness that the higher powers will judge on that. And all we can do is just either support her or just keep your mouth shut. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all, unless it's the truth and you're coming at it in a loving manner, okay? But at the end of the day, if the person is trying to come back to the promised land and right their wrongs and be reborn, it's just like you all say, the doors are open in the church, but don't try to close it, you know, all the way, because after so many times that you did try to get the person to come on over to the other side and then they end up eventually doing it, now you want to close the door. No, it don't work like that, okay? That's not how it works. You don't get to close the door, okay? Only the Most High can be able to close the door on somebody, all right? But that's when the air has been cleared. Everybody is aware of what's going on with Bree, and she also is seeking counsel as well from everybody else, since she has laid it on the line for them. And that's when Elijah take it upon himself that he has basically let her know that she is officially in the group. And I'm thinking, like, I thought she was already in the group since y'all knew each other for so long. But okay, congratulations, Miss Bree, for being accepted into the group, because that is probably one of the things that she really needs at the moment is a support group, okay? But to say the least, she is starting to come out of her shell, okay? Now, the next thing, we have Nikki on the phone with her husband, and she's basically giving the rundown with him of what happened with Bree telling the clique that she used to be an exotic dancer, and then she's been invited to the baby shower, and how she's going to bring Tasha along so they can help mend the bond or just squash the beef between her and Shayna. And she tells this information to her husband because of course that's her husband, but also it brings everything to perspective, as in you just never know what somebody is going through at that time. And don't let the glass mirrors fool you, don't let social media fool you, and don't let the outer cover of the book fool you as well, because if you ain't read the contents, then you basically just going off of face value. You haven't necessarily got to know the person. All right, so on to the next scene, because that was a short scene with Nikki and her husband. But on to the next scene, we have Tasha meeting up with the divorce lawyer. This is a quick short scene as well, because this is basically Tasha coming to reality of she is about to have the moment where she has no choice but to file for divorce, because she feels like she has done everything that she could. The divorce lawyer does ask her, does she have children? And she says no. Do they have joint bank accounts? I believe she said no as well. And does he has a pension that will be released within a couple years? And she said no as well. But he also did ask her, has her and her husband had the conversation of divorce, and she had mentioned to him that he was the one that wanted in divorce, but not her. But since she is visiting and a divorce lawyer, it's just, again, it's sinking to her. And she's in that stage of denial when it comes to divorce, because when you're divorcing from someone, and also whenever you're breaking up with someone, you do go through a grieving stage to a certain degree. So that stage where she's bargaining and also in denial at the same time, because she really wants to make this work. But when you have pulled all the stops and when you have done all you could in the marriage, and again, you have to look at the religion aspect, the biblical aspect of God not liking a divorce as well. It can be really it can be really Stockholm syndrome-ish, meaning you can be complacent due to the biblical laws of not having to still be in the marriage even though you're miserable in it. On the flip side, you're getting a divorce. So it's basically her fighting against being divorced or staying in the marriage, or just staying and be miserable, which has been tested day in, day out with the older generation of sticking it out to the end, even though they are miserable to a certain degree, because they're going based off the biblical laws aspect of God not liking a divorce. So again, I send nothing but healing, love, healing, and strength energy to Miss Tasha, okay, as she goes through this difficult time. And then I believe this is the last scene? No, this is not the last scene. Okay, let me keep on going to the next scene. Is Tasha. Okay, this is the part when I mentioned ahead of time, which is Tasha, Jay, and Elijah, as well as Nick, meeting up at Nikki's house again and discuss what Bree had told them of her being an exotic dancer and how it could affect her career in the gospel sector. And however, everybody has been given their perspectives of it may seem frowned upon when it comes to the pastors and other people in the church being reluctant to welcome her with open arms. But at the same time, you have Elijah and his input, which I do agree with him, to utilize what she had endured as her testimony so she can be able to connect with her audience. Because if you're able to have a connection with your audience, then you're able to grace their, how should I say this? When you're able to connect with your audience, you'll be able to be relatable, as well as being more empathetic in your message, and your intentions is going to be a lot more clearer and better for the collective of whoever grabs a hold of your art, well, your work. Okay. And then on the flip side, that's when I forgot who asked Tasha, but I believe it was Elijah. But they asked her what happened with the date, and she tries to explain to them what happened at her date, but she was not able to get it all out in time, because Elijah does what Elijah does and make it all about him. And so Tasha was getting agitated about it, because she said, this is Elijah. He's been like this ever since high school, ever since we've been youngins, that he would turn every situation and flip it back onto him. He will make it about him to whatever situation or whatever somebody is talking about. And that's what is agitating her, because she is trying to express how she is feeling at the moment. And I'm pretty sure her emotions were going everywhere at that time, because she just don't want to get the divorce. Okay. And however, she has to do it anyway, because otherwise she would drive herself crazy, because the fact that she is not able to rekindle what she's not able to rekindle what once was. Okay, that was a lot of W's, and I know y'all can see my eyes because I am a little sleepy. I did just get off the clock, okay, about a couple hours ago, so it's like low key past my bedtime. All right, but I'm gonna keep going. So her and Elijah, they go back and forth a little bit, saying, hey, you really need to just, I really want the best for you, because you did come from a 4-bedroom house to a 1-bedroom house, and again, I just want best for you. And Tasha's like, it's not about the material aspect right now. What is happening right now is me trying to tell the situation, but you won't let me because you make everything about yourself. And I was like, woo. Bree is not here at that moment, but it is, you see the pattern. I'm pretty sure you all see the pattern right now if you haven't watched the show already, okay? But other than that, she just storms out of the house, and she's basically done talking at that point. So the next scene, which is the final scene, is the baby shower. Shayna's baby shower. The decor is amazing. Love it. I love baby showers. I love weddings. I love babies. I love love. Okay. So Tasha talks to Bree about what happened at the meetup at Nikki's house, and then she goes into what Elijah was doing as to what she was telling her story and how she could relate to Elijah's antics. Okay, and Tasha decides to take the ring off. Tasha mentions to Bree that she also took her wedding ring off, which is another big step for her. And Bree was like, she didn't even notice until she said something, but it's because she doesn't see any hope at this point, or any changes to help move or to go forward into rekindling the relationship. Is basically finito. So on with Bree mentioning that her husband in the confessional of no, Bree is still trying to keep hope alive when it comes to Tasha and her husband, because Bree and her husband did the same thing. Like, they were separated for 2 years and they ended up reconciling. And from what I'm seeing, what I'm viewing on the TV, I don't want Tasha to be miserable. And as much as she don't want to get in a divorce, she may have to do what she have to do so she won't be in that mental state of feeling trapped all the time just because. Okay, and then also, let's see what else happened at this baby shower. So Nikki asked Tasha, where do her and Elijah lie when it comes to this riff? And Tasha says she's not happy with him because he's still lying to apologize, or he has not apologized to her yet. And she's basically waiting on an apology from Elijah, because what he did was basically out of line and wrong place at the wrong time. And Elijah said he was going to take the high road because he still feels that she's bothered at this time. So fast forward, Shayna and her family arrives at her surprise baby shower, and Tasha and Nikki had made it to the baby shower as well. She was a little bit surprised that Nikki had made it to. No, she was surprised. Shayna was surprised Tasha made it to the baby shower, but she made it. But she is going to make the best out of this event. And then, of course, Bree wants everybody to be one big happy family. And on the flip side, Tasha is like, you just gotta allow things to take its course and not force it of and not force the reconciliation. And so as they were discussing that with, Bree, Nikki, and Tasha, that's when Shayna was like low-key eavesdropping, and she was like, what y'all talking about? Let me come on over here and see what y'all talking about. And basically, this is the reconciliation moment between Tasha and Shayna, because Tasha just went on ahead and apologized to her because she had said from the last conversation, she felt like Shayna was being genuine, but Tasha was not being receptive to that manner, because she didn't know who was real, who and what was real and what was fake. So to cut this short, she said the conversation with Shayna, she basically told Shayna that the conversation basically never happened and it was all a lie. And she kept that against Shayna because she felt like she was being deceptive at the time. Like she said, she felt the spirit of deception, and also she felt like she didn't believe her at the time. But at the end of the day, Tasha ended up apologizing, Shayna ended up accepting it, and Bree is just feeling like, yeah. And then now, after the reconciliation happened with Shayna and Tasha, and Elijah wanting to step aside and wanted to pull Tasha over to the side to have a conversation with her. All in a nutshell, it did not go as planned. It did not go the way Elijah thought it would, because Elijah told Tasha that I wanted to pull you over here to have a conversation with you and not apologize just yet. Well, Tasha was like, well, if you're not apologizing, we could just end this conversation now. And he was trying to explain where he was coming from in that situation, but Tasha was like, again, if you're not apologizing right now, I don't want to hear about it. I still want to keep it at a minimum, with this being at a baby shower and you're trying to have a conversation. But in the end, he ended up raising his voice at her because he didn't like the tone Tasha was giving to him when she had told him that if he wasn't apologizing to her, then she was not going to have the conversation. So again, in the midst of it all, he ended up saying, watch your tone. And of course, everybody heard it. And then Tasha just ended up leaving the baby shower because she felt like, one, wrong place, wrong time to do it. And then secondly, he wasn't going to apologize at that time because he really just wanted to state his case, but no apology as of yet. Because in his eyes, to a certain degree, he just felt like he didn't do anything wrong. But at the same time, I'm like, Elijah, this is the wrong place and the wrong time to do it. You're supposed to be the host of the baby shower. You sitting here trying to have a conversation with Tasha to try to mend things over, or trying to state your side. Why you didn't just schedule like a meetup at a little restaurant with you and her to talk about the situation, and not have it at a baby shower? Now you done ruined the baby shower because now everybody at your throat, bro, because you chose this time to basically raise your voice because you want to establish order. But that wasn't established order, honey. You should have just allowed the festivity to go on with the baby shower and then call Tasha up either on the phone, FaceTime, or meet up at a local restaurant and have the conversation there. But the baby shower was the wrong place at the wrong time to have the conversation, especially when you're not going to apologize, okay? But yeah, that was the end of the episode, and there is one last episode. Oh, I do have to say, the most funniest thing that came out of this scenario was her saying, I'm going to unsubscribe. I'm going to unsubscribe, and we just going to talk about it later on. And that's that. which is crazy because me and my meetup girls that we meet up on Tuesdays and every other Thursdays, we had mentioned about if something was going on as far as like negative comments and stuff like that, or just people spewing that negativity, we was like, we're just gonna unsubscribe from from the situation, or be like one of the housewives. I'm disengaging. I'm disengaging. I think that was from Salt Lake City. But other than that, that was the end of the episode review, you guys. I thank you all for tuning in and rocking with me on this review of Grown in Gospel. Like I said, I really enjoyed this show. I really hope they come back a second season. And it's and I really do hope they come back for a second season, because with all this SWV and Escape stuff has really just overshadowed the Grown in Gospel premiere series on WeTV. So yeah, this was a great balance of the chaos of it all. I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed the cast members as well. Okay. But other than that, I'm gonna leave y'all to it. Feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And I'm gonna take my butt to bed.